Hello and welcome everyone, I am Maddles and welcome to Game 1 of this best of 3. It is from the ZvT Cup, it is the final and it is between the blue Zerg player in the top left position, it is Nerchio, and in the lower right we do of course have the red Terran, it is GoOdy. Now these two have knocked out some pretty good players to get here so far, and I'm probably not going to release these games in any particular order. I know I should, but it's all just down to I'm just casting them in a bit of spare time. So ultimately I'm just going to give you a rundown. If you haven't watched the other games yet, do keep an eye on my channel. They're either up there now or they will be up in the near future, so keep an eye out. But Nerchio, he went through, he beat Live Zerg, then Freya to get here. GoOdy knocked out AI Real and then Wellmu to get here. So they've all actually had really close games. They've all gone 2-1, I think. The only one who didn't was GoOdy, who beat Real, according to the ZvT Cup website, 1-0. So I'm guessing there was a reason the second game wasn't played there. But all in all, these two are pretty well matched. I'm really interested to see who's going to win this. But all in all, ZvT. So we should be seeing Hatch first out of Nerchio, 1 Rax CC out of GoOdy. The reason you can predict those sort of things is just so the current meta game on a Hana. The Terran player is really safe, but actually, the barracks being chucked down here in completely an unusual position. GoOdy going to go for an 11-11 2 racks, and I am aware that I predicted a 1 racks command center after this barracks came down, so do forgive me for that. I was actually looking at the brackets and talking about that, but wow, this could be quick. This isn't something that I would necessarily expect, especially in this position, because as you can see, the Overlord's coming down nicely for Nerchio. He's getting out some good scouts. He's making sure that the barracks aren't around here, and this is somewhere where you'd very often put those proxy 2 barracks if you were going for 11-11, as GoOdy is doing. But Nerchio isn't going to expect it over here, because the rush distance is quite a bit longer, and his Overlords aren't even heading in towards the main. They're not coming straight up here. They're instead coming around the back, going to probably position themselves down in this sort of area. So this is going to become completely unexpected for Nerchio, and GoOdy is going to be in a nice spot. He's got the single drone here, ready to come and block any kind of bunker truck down, but the SCV on its way through. The drone obviously will now just start engaging because it was on patrol, and with that, Nerchio pushes out. He's going to go and have a look. The Marines and SCVs do have to dodge this, but look at this. This is going to be absolutely on the money. This drone is going to... Oh, I thought that drone was going to come straight down, but luckily for GoOdy, it has not yet been scouted. So Nerchio, he is in some big problems at the moment. The single SCV isn't giving away what's going on, just running around. Nerchio isn't seeing anything untoward so far. If we look at his vision, he hasn't seen up on the ramp. All he knows is the command center isn't there yet, so it won't be a command center first build. But here comes the bunker. It is queued up, and now suddenly Nerchio sees the Marines, and he needs to pull drones, and that is precisely what he's going to do. All the drones getting pulled very, very quickly. This is exactly the way you deal with this. Pull the drones, and you have to stop the bunker. But double bunker, blocking the Marines off. This is going to be so incredibly hard now to deal with. The spine crawler coming down. A second spine crawler may even be needed, trying to get a few more minerals forward. The Zerglings are out, but trying to take this out when the Marines are trapped behind the 2 bunkers is going to be so difficult. All you can really do is get those spine crawlers down and try and deal with it as quickly as you can. Moving forward, a 3rd spine crawler now on the way for Nerchio, and Nerchio is in complete panic mode. You've got to find a way to deal with this, but of course this was just such a lovely play by GoOdy, creating this little bit of dead space behind where the Zerglings or the drones cannot engage the Marines, meaning that stopping those bunkers would have been so difficult. This is probably one of the best 2 racks bunker rushes I have ever seen. It was just so well executed. Nerchio was unable to scout it. Of course, the spine crawler is able to outrange the bunker, but with the Marines poking and prodding forward, doing a little bit of damage here and there, it's going to be very, very awkward for Nerchio now. He's taking damage on that hatchery. He's lost quite a few Zerglings already, as we can see. GoOdy still having lost nothing so far, using the bunkers to basically just drop the SCVs back behind here as well, so the repair is going to be able to go down unobstructed. And to be honest, Nerchio is going to have a huge amount of problems now. He's running in as best he can, but look at those repairs going off. Absolutely ace. One of the top bunkers is likely to fall now, but that doesn't really matter because you've already killed so many Zerglings. Pushing forward, going to go straight for that spine crawler. Is going to knock out the Queen as well. That's going to hurt Nerchio's production quite massively. He doesn't have any other queens down, so his lava production is going to be incredibly low. The salvage does manage to go off there for GoOdy, and the only thing GoOdy could have really done better is if he was able to knock down that spine crawler, but Nerchio managing to hold this well. He's repositioning the spines in order to get a defensive position, and I'm really impressed Nerchio managed to hold that at all, because that was just so well executed. The Zerglings are going to try and get this round on these Marines. A spine crawler was picked off, so definitely worth it. And if we look at the resources lost, well, Nerchio losing almost 1,000 resources already this game. The only plus side is he does have up his natural hatch still, so saving that was great, obviously, and his drone count is not looking too bad. He's still ahead in the drones, so all in all, GoOdy has done some good aggression, but Nerchio, having held that, is going to be able to get into a nice spot once his second queen comes up, because that's the point really where the injects will start coming down very nicely. But as we can see, GoOdy floating down this command center now, he's getting up a defensive bunker. Once he gets that new orbital command up and he's got the 2 bases, and once his third command center is finished as well, to be honest, GoOdy is going to be able to start steamrolling in terms of economy, and that is when Nerchio could run into some problems. So Nerchio has 2 main choices in this situation. He's got speed started. He's either got to try and take his third base relatively quickly in order to basically keep up economically, or he's got to try and apply some 2 base pressure. He's grabbing his second gas now. He's still getting more queens out, so we'll be starting creep spread. The spine call is positioned nicely. Wave 2 of this aggression is going to be coming in with a lot of marines. The factory is getting built behind this. The tech lab's already down, so I'll be interested to see whether we get the switch. We should be getting that coming down shortly, so going straight into tanks, it would appear, out of GoOdy. And all I can say is Nerchio is doing a good job droning up. He's getting as many drones as he can. He's going up to 4 gas now, so it's going to be some kind of 2 base aggression. He's got the lair timing as well. So, all in all, Nerchio is going to just try and knock GoOdy out straight away with some counter aggression, which he isn't going to be particularly well geared to deal with. We see that the tech labs here, nothing is producing out of the factory yet. We've got the starport. Here comes the tank. Siege mode needs to get started up pretty quickly. The key things which you need to be looking for in this situation is there going to be mutas? Which, admittedly, you can fly into the natural. The main is quite easy to come and poke and prod around. There's a little bit of dead space you can try and utilise, but not much at all. Nerchio, though, looking to position himself to come and take this third, but great positioning of these marines by GoOdy. Absolutely fantastic. In the mineral line, that's going to deny for quite a long time. Zerglings alone are not going to be able to deal with that cost effectively with such little surface area to actually start engaging on. So roaches are now on their way. We've got a Viking on its way out for GoOdy, and this is something I absolutely love, and I think every Terran player should do it. If you're getting a starport, get 1 Viking out, because there are 3 floating overlords everywhere, and like 2, there's probably a third one somewhere I would imagine that's quite easy to pick off, but nope, it appears not just 2 there, but still, 2 overlords are going to be free with 1 Viking, so always go and take that. Nerchio now is getting up the baiting nest with a roach bling push. He could do some good damage. The tanks aren't in a very sizable number yet. Siege mode is finished though, and with the high ground it could be quite good, and as you can hear, one of these overlords already going down. That is irritating for Nerchio. He's having to build more just to replace those. The marines are engaging the roaches, so the roaches will be able to clean that up, and now Nerchio, should he want to, can take his third base. But of course, having revealed the fact that he's got roaches out, I wouldn't be surprised to see a very defensive position come out from GoOdy, who's really defended this bunker nicely. He's trying to make sure that it does stay up. He's getting additional factories out, and that's basically him saying, I'm going mech, which is quite predictable, to be honest. The main thing about mech is it's strong once you get a big army up, but it's weak to any or too much mid-game aggression before you get up a sizable force. So because of that, with only 2 tanks and the third one on its way, GoOdy's got to be very careful trying to deal with this. He's getting the missile turret down, so clearly a bit worried of a bit of aggression coming in. Basically just wanting to make sure that no burrowed infestors come in, also making them a little bit safer from mutas should they start poking and prodding around. But here we go, we've got the push coming in from Nerchio, backing out. He sees those tanks probably going to come in through the back entrance here, which is a good move indeed, sending 1 roach up just to get a nice little scout out to see what's happening. And if the rocks are taken out, that would be a nice attack angle for Nerchio, because it wouldn't actually get in range of those tanks. He could come straight in here, as you can see, but it looks like instead Nerchio just going to pull back and not go for it, which when he's committed so much is obviously great news for GoOdy, because without that push coming, Nerchio's drone count is going to be a bit low, as we can see from the harvester count. GoOdy is starting to catch up, and if he is able to catch up, even at the kind of 5 behind, when you factor in the fact that GoOdy will have 3 mules, he is definitely going to be in a comfortable spot. Now, Nerchio taking down his 4th base, double expanding, it's what you've got to do. You've got to try and catch up economically after the fact that you went for this push and it hasn't really done much. Knowing that your opponent is going for mech, you've got to start teching as well. You need this late game competition. So as we can see, the infestation pick coming out, we'll probably see a hive started very quickly. We're at 13 minutes 30 already pretty much. So that hive needs to start coming out if you're going to be getting broodlords out at any decent time. The first Thor is now in production, so there was a nice potential timing window where Mutalisks would have been effective, but once the Thors start coming out, it's not going to really be worthwhile. So because of that, Nerchio needs to work out, hang on, how am I going to deal with this later game? It's going to be just purely through tech. He's got pathogen glands for searching. His hive has started as I predicted. So, all in all, Nerchio just needs to hold off now and get up his late game army. I love how many missile turrets are coming down from GoOdy. It's just keeping him very aware of any burrowed infestors, which is something that you need to be concerned of when you're going mech, because burrowed infestors coming in, and if you chuck down infested Terrans everywhere, can run you into some very large problems. And of course they also help you against any mutas, which is also very strong against this competition early before the Thor count gets a bit higher. Blue Flame Hellions are going head to head with Roaches and somehow are winning this fight, so that is good news. And we can still see the Nerchio having lost a lot more resources, over just under 1,000 more rather than his opponent. But with this 4th base up now, Nerchio is okay. He's got up to 82 drones. He needs to start thinking about what he's going to do for late game composition. The thing that is slightly concerning for me is that he's got his hive nearly finished, but his spire hasn't yet started. So if he is intending to rush up to Broodlords, he is not going to have that spire done for a long time. Ideally you want to start the hive and spire at the same time, so you can get out obviously the greatest spire as soon as hive finishes. But here we go, an engagement coming in, but GoOdy's army looking very scary indeed. He's got a good tank count, he's bringing some SCVs, the Hellions doing a nice job, the Banelings getting cleaned out before any kind of problem comes through, and mass Roaches for Nerchio, which is never going to be too fun against so many tanks. Obviously if it was very Thor heavy, mass Roaches is great, but when there's so many tanks there, you've got to be careful. And yeah, Nerchio looks like he's going to have a little bit of chat before he GG's out, and I do think it's going to be a GG now, because yeah, there's just so much going on, because there's not much you can do in this situation. You've been contained, the tanks are sieged up, you're losing your 3rd base. It looks like Nerchio just going to go and counter-attack, if anything, but nope, leaves the game. And of course game 1, and I believe it's game 1, I'm not 1,000% sure, or even 100% sure. So yeah, game 1, if you did enjoy it, like the video, leave a cool comment and subscribe, then flick over to game 2 of this best of 3. I will see you there any second.